Hey, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending what time it is, where you are in the world, and when you're watching this edition of Hypnosis Week Live. It's me, Alex William Smith by birth, but better known to many of you as Jonathan Royal, the British bad boy of hypnosis, of magicalguru.com, and I've got another amazing guest for you. Both a clinical hypnotherapist and a comedy stage hypnotist joining us all the way from, I think it's Brisbane. There's certainly mentions on the internet of Brisbane in Australia, all the way from down under. Please welcome to the show, Jaden Boon. How are you doing, Jaden?
Hey. Mate, I'm doing really well. Thank you very much for having me on.
Hey, thanks for coming on the show. Look, I'm going to start with the most obvious question. I start and end the same with everybody, and then what happens in between, obviously, is all about you, your life, and whatnot. So the first obvious question is, there was a time when you were not a clinical hypnotherapist. There was a time when you were not a fast, rapidly rising star of comedy stage hypnosis in Australia. You know, from birth to getting into hypnosis, what's your journey? What led you there? What were you up to beforehand?
I mean, there's a lot that's happened in between, but previously, so I only started my hypnosis career only 4 short years ago. Previously, before that, I worked as a tire fitter. So doing car tires, bus tires, truck tires, and all that malarkey. I guess it got to a point where, I don't know, I was pretty miserable in my own life and wanted to make a change. And I honestly didn't know how that was going to happen. But to cut somewhat of a long story short, I saw a comedy hypnosis show about 14 years ago. And I walked in there and I watched the show and I was a skeptic, 100%. I didn't believe it.
Got to ask the obvious question. Do you recall who it was?
I think I do. It was either of 3. I saw them both around the same time, because even the second show, I was still a skeptic. And then it wasn't until that I went to the third show and someone that I know, well, was my ex-partner at the time, she volunteered to go up and be hypnotized. So I saw three people around the same time. So it was Shane St. James, Mark Anthony, and Anthony Laffin.
Okay, cool. Well, Anthony Laffin is a friend of mine, and but he's a Bootcamp member as well. Mark Anthony was, if I get this right, was originally from London in England. I believe he calls his autobiography The Rogue Hypnotist. And I wouldn't be allowed to say on here if he was somebody who bought tons of my products over the years. And
I already know that for a fact.
Do you? Oh, right, okay. Well, you already know that for a fact, but yeah. And Shane St. James, I have no idea whether he had any of my products, but I know Matt, one of Martin St. James's sons, if I recall.
Yeah, correct.
Who did a lot of work over here in England as well. So 3, yeah, I mean, whichever one of those it was you saw first, but you obviously seen all 3, that lit some sort of spark in you.
Yeah.
Tell us how the story progressed from that skepticism turning into, there might be something in this because your other half got hypnotized.
Yeah, so basically, she came off stage. It was the end of the show. We were walking out and I looked at her in the face and I said, you know what, I'm going to learn this one day. And I did absolutely nothing for 10 years. I don't know. It was a quick thought and then it went again. I don't know. I just stayed at my job and never really investigated any more into it. But I guess it got to a point where that relationship ended. Things in my life were pretty miserable and pretty dire. And I was like, you know what? I need to change. So something has to give. And you know, I just want to better myself. And at the time I was smoking very heavily. And the first thing I wanted to do, I guess, was to sort that out. So I ended up going to see a hypnotist, getting hypnotized. Hour and a half later, walk out of there and haven't had a cigarette since.
And that was how many years ago?
That was 4 years ago.
Okay, so I mean, 4 years, it's safe to say you're a non-smoker. Excellent.
100%. And that's where it progressed. So from there I went, you know what? I love this. Like, how could it be that easy or appear to be that easy when I struggled so badly before? And then that was it. I just fell in love with it. From that point, I did a self-hypnosis course and then just progressed and just done course after course after course, invested in everyone and anyone. And yeah, here I am 4 years later.
So, I mean, okay. Totally no particular background in show business or entertainment, or no family links to therapy or anything like that, is there?
I mean, to a show business, some extent, very much like yourself. I grew up around the circus.
Okay.
So I spent every weekend just about, what it seemed like, going to circuses. We spent a lot of time at the circus, and it got to the point where we became so known at one of the circuses that one of my brothers was actually invited to perform as part of that circus. So he traveled around with them for a while. But in saying that, up until that point, my brother was really into magic as well. And I fell in love with magic. And I used to walk around the school performing card tricks and doing, sleight of hand, and just, I never got really seriously into it, but I liked the reactions. I liked the attention, and what it brought. And, I was into balloon modeling and making balloon animals and doing all that stuff, but it never really progressed either. So to some extent, there was always that element of wanting to entertain, wanting to perform, but not knowing how it was going to happen. Like, I honestly didn't see myself as being on stage performing, because the magic dropped off and the clown side sort of dropped off. Mm-hmm. And then, when I discovered hypnosis, I was like, this is what I want to do.
Cool. So, I mean, it's you now obviously see clients for therapy, and from the entertainment side, you do shows, and the people will be able to find links below the video and the audio podcast, whichever platform you're on, to your social media channels and YouTube, where there's video links up. I noticed earlier some videos up there of you doing phobia cures on people, as well as entertainment stuff. So well worth checking out. But I love your branding. Okay, let me say it's very modern. What have you gone? Is that something you've come up with yourself, or you have got? It's very. You've got the cartoon on there. It's very bright. It's in your face. I mean, a lot of people might not like it. Tough luck to them. The people who, everyone's got their own way of doing things, but I think that's very modern, bright, in your face, and in the social media world that we live in, I think he's attracting probably that young demographic. How did you settle on that rather than the more cliched old photograph staring nonsense?
Look, I still definitely do have some of them, 100%. I sort of wanted to go for some of those cliches, but it's just something that's happened over time. Because originally, I started seeing clients before I was doing stage. I did my clinical course, but I always knew that I wanted to be a stage hypnotist, but I wanted to do both. But I started with the clinical. So I have rebranded and changed my stuff over time, but it's just been it is all me. I make all the stuff. I just try to put out there what I hope, hits that nerve, or people that can relate to, or, things that I've been through myself, and was like, you know what, there's actually other ways of being able to change very quickly and easily without being able to talk about the problem 700 times. So I guess it has just been that progression. But as you say, those cliche photos, I definitely do have some of those. But the little cartoon, I wanted something cool. I wanted something eye-catching. And I think it suits my personality as well. But in saying the younger demographic with the shows and stuff, it is actually generally a younger demographic that come to the shows. But a lot of the clients that I see are actually middle-aged women.
Okay. I'm going to fuck it. I ask questions whether they're appropriate or not. Perhaps they are attracted or feel somewhat comfortable with a younger man.
And look, maybe it is. Yeah, I don't know. I guess at the end of the
Sigmund Freudy there, but there is the good bit.
Oh, I don't know. I treat everyone with respect, and always try to make everyone feel as comfortable as they can. That's my main priority, that they feel comfortable, and I always chat to them on the phone and make sure that I am the person that they really believe can help them.
Now, there are no trick questions, as if you watched any of the past shows, but there are sometimes awkward questions. And I don't ask them to be awkward. I just ask them because otherwise people watching or listening and go, why didn't you ask that? I have to play devil's advocate because, personally, I do stage shows and therapy. Not as much as I did because I don't need to, but I still do both and always have done. Whereas there's people out there who are therapists who'd go, stage hypnotist, they give us therapists a bad name, which I don't believe for 1 minute. What's your view on that whole stage hypnotists, therapists, one causes harm to the other, which I don't believe it. Obviously you do both. What's your view on it, Law?
Yeah, like with a lot of people, honestly, I think the shows are important. It gives it so much more credibility. And also it's like, you've got your 10, 15, 20, however many people you got there up there at the time. It's like, if I can demonstrate getting people to do all these crazy and silly things, then why can't we use this to help you to create rapid change? So I think the shows are very important because a lot of people wouldn't, I guess, believe it or see it as a viable option. And, it is a good way to promote. Like, you've got 200 people in the room and people go, I can't believe my sister or my auntie or my uncle or my granddad would be up there doing that. So maybe there is actually something in this, and people that before would not even think about it, it's now in the front of their mind going, there's more to that, or there's got to be something in it. That's the way I see it. I think it gives a lot more people the opportunity to know what it is or how it can help and promote it to more people.
Hey, I'm singing off the same hymn sheet as you. The fact is, historically, hypnotherapists will probably hate hearing this, but the fact is that without stage hypnotists, I don't believe there would be a hypnotherapy industry as such.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And ironically, if you look back through history, I'll just try and reel these off rapidly, but Gilboa and California Institute of Hypnotherapy was originally known as the Cowboy Hypnotist, stage hypnotist. Paul McKenna started as a stage hypnotist before getting into NLP with Richard Bandler. Dave Allman, the Green Book, Hypnotherapy. Christ, he taught doctors and all this, but he was a musical performer and stage hypnotist. Orman McGill was a magician and stage hypnotist, and yet he is held up as, one of the grandfathers of hypnotherapy. I could go on and on and on, but I won't, because there's videos on YouTube called Why Hypnotherapist or Stage Hypnotist, big time, that list all the major kingpins of the hypnotherapy training world were stage hypnotists at some point. Make of that what you will. So yeah, we're gonna keep switching between stage and therapy. Let's start with stage. I noticed that you, from some of your adverts, adults only stage hypnosis show. Oh, interesting. I used to do adults only, massive scale in England back in the 90s. I still do adults only shows, although the content is somewhat different now than it was in the 90s because of this politically correct world we now live in. Tell us how do you define an adults only comedy stage hypnosis show in this world of pronouns and he, she, them, they, and all this?
So I only promote it like that really because I want to be myself. I'm so new to the stage. I want to be myself. I want to let my true personality out, and I want to have fun. So I only promote it that way because I want to swear. I want to be myself, and the routines, they're not crude, they're not rude, they're not over the top at all. I keep it very tame and mild, but because I want to swear, I want to amp it up, I want to take the piss and have fun. So I just say 18 plus because I don't want kids to come and hear me say fuck all night.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I don't take it too far. I make sure that everyone's conservative. No one takes off any item of clothing, even guys. I mean, the most extreme that you'll see is probably someone having sex with a chair. But yeah, like I said, I don't take it too far. It's just for that purpose, really, because I don't want parents to go, oh, I want to take the kids along, and then they're like, oh, this is a bit over the top for kids, which, to some extent, I think it is.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on you? Because I'm not too au fait on this one, so it's actually something to clarify. I actually don't know the answer to this one. In England, we're not allowed by law to hypnotise anyone under the age of 18. Volunteers under the 1952 Hypnotism Act. Yeah, in America, for example, they do high school shows where they've got kids locked in, after the early hours of the morning. And, I've even seen state fairs where they're doing shows and they've got volunteers who are like 8, 9 years old, which frankly, I think's fucking ridiculous. And if that offends anyone out there, sorry, but I don't think, I genuinely believe there are dangers of participating in the stage hypnosis show, which will upset a lot of stage hypnotists watching this. And if you don't think there is, that means you've not studied the transparency template, blatant plug. But the fact is there are dangers, and I don't think a childlike 8, 9-year-old's mind is the right mind to be fucking with. Yes, on the one hand, children naturally imagine and play, but on the other hand, generally not in front of an audience full of people in a peer group psychological pressure scenario that could cause long-term post-traumatic stress disorder on a low-lying level that manifests later in life. Anyway, thus ends our lecture, but the question was, sorry about that, went off on one there, are you allowed, is the rules like that in Oz?
No, as far as I'm concerned, there are no regulations around that.
So I mean,
up on stage, because I know other hypnotists do like family-friendly shows where they've had children up on stage. I think they normally say anyone 12 and under don't come up.
But even like 12's younger than we're allowed here, right? Okay.
But are you just talking about like stage in general or therapy as well? Because I see.
Well, children with therapy. Oh, with therapy, as long as you've got parental signed consent, no issues with that.
Yeah. I normally have the parent here.
Well, stage-wise, we're not allowed. I just wonder, because in America you see it happening a lot, whether or not it goes on in schools and colleges, high schools and stuff out there.
I mean, in Australia, not so much, but I don't think because it's regulated, I just don't think there's a big market for it.
Dare we say there's perhaps a different, I'm sorry, I'm going to upset some American viewers probably, and it's nothing personal, but a different mentality. Yeah. So what's the competition like out there? I mean, but I don't mean specifically by identity. I mean, are there I know in America, a lot of the American hypnotists moan on groups about there's more and more hypnotists showing up on, what do they call it, gig salad or whatever, undercutting each other. What's the state of the market like out there in Australia?
Look, I try to follow as many people as I can. I think there's only maybe 15 Australia-wide that are doing shows. 15 stage hypnotists. Yeah. There's not a lot. In Brisbane, where I am, I've got I think 3 or 4 within a couple of hours. I mean, there is, you get the odd one here or there that are happy to undercut everyone, and that has been happening in the last couple of months coming out of COVID. But there's not massive competition in stage. Definitely in therapy, it's getting very, very saturated, but stage, not massively yet.
Right. Okay. Cool. So you're in there before it one day heads that way. Can I just wonder, because it just seems I know that Australia as such, as the story goes, was founded with British criminals being sent from here to start this new land. But I don't think that's necessarily got anything to do with the fact that there seems to be a number of former British residents who have moved to Australia, stage hypnotists, who are now working out there, living there.
Oh, really?
Obviously, we mentioned Mark Anthony before. He was originally in London. And as far as I'm aware, the most televised Australian hypnotist, Peter Powers, used to live literally 4.5 miles down the road from where my house is.
Wow.
It's Peter still, I mean, he hasn't been active, none of us have over COVID, but I mean, as far as I'm aware, he's kind of done the most TV shows out there.
I believe so. And he's still performing. I think he had some shows just before COVID. I don't follow him real closely, but he's definitely still out there. But I would say that he is probably, one of the most ones that's recognized.
That's somewhere you'd like to down the line, perhaps, get into that spot. I mean, the TV side of stuff.
Absolutely, I would, definitely.
So, have you started planning ideas? Ideas to be different. That's always one of the things you see railed about on these Facebook groups. I just tend to observe and let them argue among themselves. But you're still this routine. That's not original. That's it.
There's a lot of that at the moment. Well, I mean, since I've started, really, but more so now.
Do you write any of your own stuff?
Look, in all honesty, I haven't. I wouldn't say.
Hey, good man. That's off to you for your honesty.
Yeah, 100%. Because like I said, I'm so new. I've done 8 shows, so I'm still, I guess, trying to find my place and my way of doing things. So, I mean, to some extent, it changes, and I do improvise from show to show. So it's going to get to that point, but it's just, I wanted to go out there with a set plan, an idea. This is how I'm going to do it, and make sure that I could pull that off before I go, you know what, I'm just going to write my own show. I just wanted to make sure that, honestly, that I could put on the best show for those people that have attended.
Now, you say you've only done 8 comedy stage hypnosis shows, and I didn't actually know that till we spoke today, because your footprint, as it were, if you look on YouTube, it's not that you've got hundreds of videos up, but the videos you've got up clearly show, and photos that go up on Facebook and this, that, the other that I've seen, clearly show, like, a decent amount of people having volunteered, and clearly by virtue of the pictures, a good number of people actually going under and participating, which looks as though it's great, because it looks as though you must have been doing this for, like, a lot longer. Have you just been incredibly lucky, or have you had some hiccups along the way as well? Because I mean, personally, I can tell you the first show I ever did over 30 years ago, well, when I'm late 1989, early 1990. Got loads of volunteers whose hands were locked together. Great, wonderful. And then not a single fucking, and I will swear, not a single fucking person. Well, one might argue they went under and then came out of it, but not a single person was responsive. And within sort of 10 minutes of having got them on stage, I had to send them all back. And this was a show that I promoted myself, do a charge job, and I had to refund everyone. And it was fucking dire, and I considered never doing it again. But then I got offered a paid booking because I'd had the audacity to contact agents. And I thought, sod it, I can't lose any of my own money. I either get paid or I don't. And it worked wonderfully well. And as far as I was concerned, I was doing exactly the same thing. So I had it really early on, the fuck up, to the extreme of it going incredibly well, and then it kind of balancing out. How's your journey been?
To answer that question, and you asked before, have I been lucky? Up until this point, I have been very lucky. I guess for me, I was lucky in both respects, where I was literally starting my stage career in the middle of COVID. I was 6 weeks out from performing my very first ever show when COVID came along.
Oh, bloody hell. And that's unlucky. Yeah.
And here in Australia, they shut down every venue. I mean, they did across the world, but when they shut all the pubs, all the clubs, they literally shut all the doors, said every restaurant close up. That was it. Everyone go home. So I was 6 weeks out from doing that show, and I went, okay, well, what am I going to do now? And for me, I was very lucky. I was able to sit at home. I did a lot of study. I spent a lot of time on YouTube. I bought a lot of courses. I got people over under the house limits that were allowed. Uh-huh. And I spent 12 months, day in, day out, recording it every day, practicing my show for 12 months.
Oh, excellent.
So I got to stand in the lounge room. I got to record it. I'd watch it back. I would stand there with a microphone. I'd imagine I was looking out to the audience, and I would literally perform my whole show. So in that sense, I was lucky. I got that extra preparation time coming out of my stage course to practice and to feel like what I could consider as perfection without actually doing it for real. Mm-hmm. So I had that time to practice, and my first show, and the full video is actually on YouTube. My very first ever show has probably been one of my best shows. I had the most amount of people volunteer, and I had the most amount of people hypnotized, and they were very animated, and it was an amazing show. And the positive feedback that I had from that, I don't know, it just set me on fire. I was like, holy shit, I did it. I was like, that was so friggin' easy, and that was so much fun. How can I do this again? So all the shows that I've done so far, so I've done 8 shows. I've been paid for 2. The other 6, I've promoted all myself, done door tickets, sold all the tickets myself through self-promotion, no website.
Oh, wow. I mean, that's an amazing, okay. I mean, having done 8 shows and them go pretty damn well in itself is a great achievement. But the fact that 6 of them, so the vast majority of them, that's, well, I'm doing the maths, 3/4. Sorry, it's only 9:20 in the morning in England here, and I'm only on my first coffee. Brains, I'm normally
sorry to get
cleverer
you up so
than that. You're all right. It's fine. It's a pleasure. But to have promoted 3/4 of them and done the ticket selling, I mean, if any, that's the fucking nightmare. I find it. I've done it over the years, but I find it a monumental bloody nightmare having to do all the ticket selling. And I've found that in recent years, I know we've had COVID, but I mean, leading up to that it's got, I don't know what it's like in Australia, but it's got harder and harder to sell tickets to live events because there's more and more TV channels, because the cost of living and all this, that, the other. Did you have prior promotional experience? Or
0. And that was the thing. Like, after that first show, like I said, it just set me on fire because, like you said, a lot of people have had that same experience. They did their first show, went to shit, and a lot of people don't want to go through that experience again, or, you know, it takes them a bit to recover or build up the courage. And that's where, I guess, for me, it was totally the opposite. And I was like, okay, I've done 1. People still don't know who I am. 100 people were at my show, and it was sold out because it was still under COVID restrictions. So the venue was only allowed 100 people. And I was like, I can't sit around and wait for the phone to ring. How can I do this again? So I literally hired the function room, and I did it again. And then I hired the function room, and I did it again. And then got someone who was at one of my first shows, a really good friend of mine. She's a hypnotherapist in Gympie, Shana. She approached a venue for me and said, look, my friend's a stage hypnotist. Would you guys be interested in hiring a hypnotist and putting on a show? And yeah, they booked me straight away. So, cool. But prior to that, literally no experience in marketing or promotion or knowing what to do to sell a show. I guess you could say that I winged it. You know, I don't know. I just tried something and it's been working.
Excellent. Hats off to you. I mean, without a doubt, if you can find a way that works marketing wise to promote your own shows, more ball ache, or at least I personally view it as ball ache. Some people actually find it pleasurable and a challenge. But ultimately, there's more profit to be made that way than just
I've been finding that, but again, I haven't had any real high ticket paying shows yet. But yeah, definitely, I have been making more money doing it that way.
And have you got? Are you starting to do you video the shows and sell videos to the people who are there after, and the back of the room therapy stuff and all that?
Yeah, absolutely. I do. So at the end of the show, I let everyone know that the show was recorded in high definition. So I do sell a copy of that. I've also got 10 hypnosis audios that I've put on a USB that I sell and offer a free Bluetooth headband so that they can listen to their hypnosis recordings through their headband. So I sell them at the show as well. And then also I do the big spiel at the end where it's like, if you're interested in knowing more, you want to know how this can change your life, please come and talk to me. And
by headband, do you mean like those sports things that stretch on your head?
Yeah. But it's got built-in speakers in it and it's Bluetooth.
Oh, cool. Right. Nice.
Yeah, so I just buy them in bulk and say that it comes free when they buy a USB, and people jump all over it because they get 10 sessions.
That's a great idea, that. Yeah. What do you do? So you use somewhere like AliExpress, one of these Chinese wholesale websites, to buy them in bulk?
I literally just use eBay.
Oh, right. Okay. I'll look into them.
Yeah.
I have seen an image of one once, but I've never seen one in real life. Just looks like those
I actually
sweatbands.
Got one.
All right. Yeah. If you've got it close to hand, that'd be cool. I think that's a cool idea, offering people a perceived free gift, but also something that enables them to.
So they just come in a vacuum sealed bag. So that's the back. And then on the front, it's just got the instructions of what they need to do. It comes with the charging cable.
All right, so they can charge it up on the computer, like
charge it, yeah. And then all they've got to do is Bluetooth. So if they get their USB, they can transfer the files to their phone or on their computer, sync it to their Bluetooth, and they can listen to their audios if they want to lay down somewhere. Or they could use it as like an eye mask, like cover their face and pull it down over and listen to their audios. Yeah.
Excellent. No, that's brilliant. Nice one. Yeah, cool. Thinking the possibilities of that. Sorry, yeah. Hey, good man. So I'm guessing you also get people interested, the people who buy recordings, but also want to come and see you one-to-one, so it feeds clients into your therapy clinic side of things. So we'll segue therapy direction for a little bit. Tell us about your therapy journey, because obviously you had to study therapy to start with and then set up in practice. How did that come about, that side of things?
Yeah, so again, like going back to before with the smoking. So the first step, so I'll be straight up. I was very miserable, very depressed, very anxious. I was in a world of hurt, and I was like, I need to get out of this. I was like, you know, like most people, you have that epiphany. You wake up one day and you're like, you know what? There's got to be more to life than this shit. Being miserable every day, crying yourself to sleep, going to a job that you hate. There's got to be more to life. And how am I going to get out of that? So firstly, again, so I stopped smoking using hypnosis. And then from there, I was like, okay, what else can we do with this? So then from there, I started investigating in courses. And it wasn't really until that I went through my NLP course that I really had a breakthrough. And I was like, holy shit, all these things that I was so miserable about appeared to or seemed to have completely disappeared. Yes, they're still there, but they don't affect me like they used to. And I guess when you surround yourself in an environment where you're trying to spread positivity, people are trying to build you up, you're trying to build other people up, and you're encouraging people to do better, then you have to do it yourself. There's no point encouraging other people to do it if you haven't done it yourself. And you know, it's through all this course and all these courses and self-development and listening to people and watching YouTube that I just learned a new way of thinking. So I guess for me, it was like, it changed my life dramatically. Like, I mean, massively. Like, I was suicidal and everything. And
Right.
to now like be in a place where it's like I'm living my dream job. It's like, if I can do that, then other people can too. And I didn't even get into hypnosis really to help people. I got into it because I wanted to be on stage. But what it did for me and how it changed my life, I went, you know what? I want to give this to other people. I want them to have it too. Yeah. But also, I think it makes you better all-rounded. You can deal with stuff on stage. You know how to help people in every situation, not just, you know, where you got some hypnotherapists that do relaxotherapy, but it's like you can dramatically help someone change, whether it's on stage or in the therapy room.
Cool. So, I mean, what's your, I'm not asking you to give us a complete kind of minute detail answer, or feel free to. But what's your, because there's so many different schools of thought, so many different bloody competing, you know, you've got regression to cause, you've got suggestion hypnosis, there's Ericksonian, permissive and indirect hypnosis. I could go on and on and on. We'd be here for hours. What is your favored personal, because frankly I think it's just down to what the therapist, I know there'll be therapists disagree with this, of course. What's best for the client? But personally, I think it's whatever the therapist feels most confident and enjoys using most is that which they're then going to transmit the most confidence to the client. So what's your kind of favoured approaches?
That's a hard one. I guess it really varies. You know, sometimes I'm like, you know what, I want to do this today, or I want to try that today. And since I've started and my progression, I've chopped and changed so many times. You know, I guess at first, like most people, you think timeline therapy is the be all and the end all. So I was doing that for a while, and then I got bored of that. And then, you know, there was a regression to cause. And then I guess I kind of got bored of that as well. Then I like using one of your favorite techniques. For a while there, I was using the swan.
He says that tongue-in-cheek. If anyone's wondering, Bob Burns the Swan, which I helped get released on the market, he will tell you different, Bob Burns, because he's a lying cunt who is guilty of defamation of character. And the evidence is on facebook.com/Alex the Hypnotist. In the photo albums, click on proof of defamation of character by Bob Burns. However, the technique also isn't original. I know you've set me off on a rant now, but
I had to say it. But I was being honest. I was doing the swan.
The techniques, the technique's cool. So what you were doing, which I was actually teaching way before Bob Burns ever taught the swan, is you're doing what I teach on Confessions of a Hypnotist set that's inside the Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp. This is my nighttime anti-snoring device thing, but imagine that's a pendulum. That is how you hold a pendulum, and this is the table. If we take the pendulum away, that's a naked pendulum. Or, oh look, we're in the position for the swan. All the swan is a pendulum work with the pendulum tuck away. And I was teaching pendulum work for therapy in the Confessions of a Hypnotist set years and years before Bob Burns ever released that. There's nothing new under the sun. Anyway, rant over for now. People want to see more about the technique. Works wonderfully, Law. Just idiomotor response, direct unconscious communication. So yeah, nothing wrong with the technique. It works perfectly well. So what else have you varied across, as it were? Because
so yeah, now I guess I'm trying something different. I've just enrolled in a conversational hypnosis course as well, because I like everyone says, learn off everyone. So yeah, I'm actually really enjoying this course, and I had my first session doing it that way today, and it was a completely different session, but we were both very happy with the outcome. So yeah, being able to mix it all together as well, you know, so it really varies what I do. Sometimes I want to try different things and different approaches, and yeah, I guess I don't have one set thing yet, or in general, I don't think. Yeah,
I'm going to make a statement and tell me what you thought. You're very different, and pretty much everybody does that at some point.
Yeah.
Early on. Personally, I don't think it fucking matters what you do, as long as you deliver it with confidence, charisma, conviction, and certainty, so that the client believes this is what will work for them for whatever it is they're there for. I think the rest is just pantomime.
And I definitely agree, you know, especially after watching a lot of your stuff and seeing, you know, people in those classes where it's just like, and seeing how quickly people change. It's like, you know, and as you said, and this one makes you laugh. Maybe you'll remember it, one of those videos where you're like, we'll do the fucking celery technique.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Stick the celery up your nose.
Yeah, you know, it's true. You know, I do agree with that. And that's why I think I do like to mix it up, because it's like, for me, I get bored. You know, I want to keep it fresh and different, I guess. But also, you know, it's also, I guess, becoming multi-skilled in many different things. Like, it's not just one way of doing it. It's like, I could do it this way or I could do it that way. So if I keep up to date with it all, then you know it all. You know, you got those tools in the back of your toolbox if you need them, should you need them. Plus, also,
yeah, no, sorry, go on. Yeah,
I was just going to say, plus I'm obsessed with knowledge. Literally, since I've started this, like, honestly, in the last 4 years, and whether people believe it or not, I study hypnosis 7 days a week, every single day, whether it's for an hour, whether it's for half an hour. I study 7 days a week.
Nice. I mean, that's great. I would probably advise you to do a little less hypno study now and just concentrate on marketing, advertising, publicity, and promotion to help you build your business. But, you know, whatever works for you.
Yeah, 100%. Well, most of the time, like, just quickly, I was going to say, even if it's just at the gym, if I put headphones in while I'm at the gym, you know, there's my hour there.
Cool. Yeah. Audiobooks. Good point.
Well, not even that. YouTube as well. Like, I subscribe to a lot of channels, so whoever's got a new video, including yours, you know, whatever's comes up in the you know, whether someone's got a 4-minute video, then I'll go to their 5-minute video, then I'll go to a 6-minute. So I just chop and change the whole way throughout my hour at the gym. Yeah.
What, just listening or?
Yeah, just listening. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Right. Cool. Yeah, Jim, that works all right. I'm adverse to words like that.
Well, what were you going to say? Rapid inductions?
Yeah, well, no, not necessarily rapid, but inductions in general. I mean, this is too faceted, so we'll go with stage first. Then we'll talk about therapy. Stage hypnosis-wise, God, you see it on groups. Oh, if you're doing a progressive relaxation induction, you know, you're boring the audience shitless. Personally, I use generally a combination of the first person that comes up on stage, I'll kind of chuck them on the floor, drop back, whatever. And then, having established authority, credibility, got the wow factor from the audience, I'll do what might arguably be considered a progressive relaxation on the majority, because you're doing them all together. It's effectively quicker, I would argue, than doing a dozen or more individual rapids. What's your thought and preferred approach in that sort of context, stage-wise?
Like, I love the drop back and being able to lay people on the floor. but I'm little. I'm not real little, but I'm little, right? And I don't want to put my reputation in jeopardy. So as showy and as wow as it is, I would love to do it. But I honestly, like I said, with insurance and risking hurting my back, I know you talk a lot about, over time, how it can affect your back. And previously being in manual labor for 13 years, I don't have the best back. So as much as I'd love to do that, but in saying that, because I have done 8 shows, it's weird. I've built up, I guess you could say, a little bit of a cult following. I've had lots of people come to multiple shows. Like, some people came to my last show. They just booked 10 tickets for my next show that's coming up. So a lot of those people have volunteered and whatnot. So if they volunteer to come up on stage again, I will say, hey, you guys look familiar. You were at the last show, weren't you? And they'll say yes. And I'll say, you volunteered, or you were up here, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll do an instant or a rapid in them, just on the chair. I'll do an arm pull or, hand to face, and take them out very quickly, and get the audience does the holy shit. And you see even the other volunteers up on stage, they're like, so for me, that's as far as I'm willing to push it until I get a bit bigger. But in saying that, I do, on the rest of them, I guess you could say the progressive, I do fractionation, get them to open their and close their eyes 3 times throughout it. Then, just get them to relax. My induction generally goes for about 8 minutes.
So what effect do you think that induction has? I mean, I've thrown this out to other stage hypnotists who I've interviewed on the Hypnosis Week. What is the actual fucking point of the induction, in your opinion?
Well,
and that's not a trick question. That's not a trick question.
Yeah. I mean, we're all taught it's to put people in trance. I mean, everyone bangs on about it. But then other people say you're always in trance. So what is the point? And I know that people have done shows, and you could probably vouch for this, I'm sure of it, where there's been no induction and they've gone straight into doing routines. And it's still worked the same. But I think it adds to the mystery for the audience. Oh, he's doing something. What's he doing? Why are all those words affecting those people like that? So that's what I like about it, because I don't know, some people say that the induction's boring, but if you can make it fun, I think a lot more people are intrigued by it these days. Like, why is that working? We're hearing the same voice. How come it's happening to them and not to us? And, why is he getting them to open and close their eyes? I just think it adds to the mystery, in my opinion.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think theatrically it gives the audience something to believe in, because otherwise what's the point in sitting there watching people do things that clearly they would have been happy to do anywhere? The entire context is supposed to be that there is somebody there making them do things they wouldn't normally do.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's no point to it, really, is there? I couldn't agree with you more. It's interesting that it's still there is this argument in stage hypnosis groups of, if you're doing rapids versus, look, personally, I think that if you do it too fast, it looks too impressive. If you do them all too fast, it's all right as a wow factor. But at the other extreme, therapy. Now, most therapists will have been taught to do progressive relaxation of some form or another. And yet there are more and more courses out there, and there have been in recent sort of decade of speed up, see more clients in less time. Why you'd actually want to do that, I'm not sure. Because I think the biggest therapeutic point is the fact that the client feels special because they're spending time with you. But what's your thought of using rapids in therapy, specifically one-to-one? Might be different if you're doing a group demo, but
yeah. Look, in all honesty, I like it, but it depends on the client. Like, I've had 70-year-olds for weight loss and stuff like that. I'm not going to do an arm pull or anything crazy like that. But yeah, honestly, I do them. And as you said, being young, I still do see young clients. So, I think to them, it's like, holy shit, what just happened? It's that, yeah, they don't expect it, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I think it just, plus it also breaks it up and it keeps me on my toes, I guess. But like, it's also like continual practice. That's how I look at it. It's like they're paying to do practice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Delavar, who was one of my original teachers, he said that the only difference between seeing a client in the consulting room and doing a stage hypnosis show is the size of your audience. You've just got an audience of one in there. He always framed it as always being a performance anyway and fitting their expectations. Do you use, I mean, I know everyone does to a degree, but I mean, it's for the purpose of getting examples, therapeutic wise, do you go the old school approach, which is you do the session and let's see if the results are there afterwards, which of course you would frame as, look at what wonderful results you're now getting? Or do you use convincers early on to kind of prove and demonstrate to them that what you've suggested to them and they've imagined has become reality? I mean, do you block their eyes together, stick their hand to a table or anything of that kind of ilk?
Yeah, that I do. Also, because like I said, it's fun for me. Yeah. Like it is. It's still fun for me. So yes, I do demonstrate that because I want them to have an experience and also go, that normally wouldn't happen, or how did that happen? So I do like to use like convincers or some sort of influence to help reinforce what's taken place. Definitely.
Excellent. And what's your favorite? I mean, I know there's lots of similarities, but then there's lots of differences. But from a therapeutic point of view, what sort of clients do you enjoy treating the most? I don't mean male or female or age wise. I mean conditions wise, the issue that they're presenting with.
For me, it's more like depression and trauma.
Okay. The heavy stuff. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to ask you to elaborate on that. Then, what sort of approaches do you use with clients like that? Because that is more of the heavy stuff. Most therapists tend to kind of make the bread and butter from smoking cessation, weight loss, confidence, phobias. But hey, cool. I mean, if that's something you enjoy doing, there is most definitely a massive market of people that can benefit from that. What sort of approaches do you use with those people?
And again, it really does client depend, because what I would do for one, I wouldn't do for another. Okay. So in the session, I really gauge where they're at and what they're giving me, because I also like to give those people especially, and this is why I like working with them as opposed to like weight loss or smoking, where it's like they go off into the world and you wait for the message, or how did you go? Oh, I'm smoking again. I didn't lose weight. But it's like depression, trauma, and stuff like that. You're seeing it straight away. There is no waiting. Is it still affecting you or is it not? Has it changed or has it not? So, I mean, I use heaps of different approaches. I use like NLP, the SWAN, but also now using, I guess, this conversational hypnosis approach, which I am really enjoying learning, and after today's session doing as well. So it really depends on how I think that I need to approach it. It's hard to say because, as I said, no session is the same every time, or this is what I'm going to do. I wait for them to come and then I go from there. I don't pull scripts out or this technique. I mean, I've got them all there if I need them, but I wait and see what happens first.
It's interesting that you said you kind of go with what feels right to you in the moment based on the, I'm going to say, the vibes or the feedback you're getting from the client. Again, it's not a trick question. It's just. I mean, you already know my point of view, but do you think that the highest, the most important part of that is the fact that it's what you feel is right in that moment, and therefore you have more confidence in your delivery and transmission and belief being transmitted to the client that this is going to work for them because it's what feels right for you in that moment, as opposed to the actual technique itself?
It definitely has a massive part to play. 100%. I'll agree with that. Yeah. As for how much, I don't know, but it definitely would. You know, as we know, confidence is everything, especially with being on stage or rapid and instance, you know, that certainty that it's like, this is going to fucking work. And that does come across to people, you know, like when you first start, well, this is for me. I was probably more anxious than my anxiety clients.
Yeah, well, yeah, we've all been there at some point. Yeah,
100%. Like I'd be a ball of nerves shaking in the corner, going, "Fuck, are they here?" You know. But now it's very different, and I do get that a lot. That people like, you're very confident, and that confidence is everything.
Cool. So where I mean, you're doing therapy, you're doing stage, they do work together as we've covered. Where do you see the future? What's your next step now that we are getting, well, we certainly are here in England, getting slowly but surely more back to normal, I would say, post-COVID. What's your kind of aims for the next, say, 12 months, 3 years, you know, the usual goal setting plan stuff?
Yeah, and like I say to everyone, 100% at this point, it's just to be on more stages. I'd love to get booked for more shows. I'd love to be able to travel interstate. And also, you know, like most people, some point, you know, I would love to be able to take what I do worldwide. You know, so many other people have. Why can't I? So ideally at this point, I want to be on more stages, performing more shows. And that's why I have been putting on my own shows, because it's like, I'm not going to sit and wait for the phone to ring. Being so new to the industry, it's like, I'm going to put myself out there myself and make it happen. So ideally, it just be performing more shows.
You fancy cruises? That'll take you around the world.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it would definitely...
You have to drop the swearing, Law.
Yeah, that's right. I was getting to that.
Unless they book you for the adult comedy room, which is fine, but generally speaking, you're going to drop the swearing for them.
Yeah, and there is that, and that's the thing. You know, I don't think I'm ready to tone it down. You know, I'm enjoying being myself and letting my personality out as well. You know, I like to swear, I like to have fun, and you know, it comes across in the showmanship. Because it's like you're up there having, well, I am having just as much fun as the audience and the volunteers, if not more. You know, I love it.
Well, yeah, and an audience can pick up on that. It's, yeah, and it's true, yeah. Don't compromise. Perhaps cruises are not the best idea at the moment, then.
Yeah, definitely at some point, you know, but right now, but again, it's a stepping stone. It's not like I'm just going to go from doing the local shows to on a cruise. It'll get to a point where if that opportunity is presented, then obviously I'm going to do whatever I can to make that work.
Cool. Any plans for kind of I don't know. I know we mentioned television before, but we're living in the world is so bloody different now than when I started doing hypno shows back in late '89. There was no social media, there was no internet then. There are people now, certainly in the magic world and other areas of entertainment, that I like getting viewers on a daily or weekly basis to their, whether it's YouTube channels or other social media outlets where they're putting videos, that are more than television stars of the past could have dreamed of getting viewers, and these people are getting them in a week because the landscape of the entire bloody world's changed.
Yeah, massively.
And we're definitely in a time now where it is possible to be a internet superstar, as it were. Is that something you've ever put any kind of energy into making happen? Or
I mean, to some extent, yeah, because again, I think it helps you get your name out there. You know, I've had people message me on Instagram because of a video that they saw on YouTube, or they've messaged me on Facebook because of a video they've seen on TikTok. I wouldn't say that I go hard on posting that stuff, but I also like to post it so people know who I am, so that if people are interested in booking me for a show, can go, okay, he's actually got shows, his venues are selling out, look at the rooms, it's full of people, he does a good show. So it's not necessarily about the views, but it's also about bringing awareness to who I am. So I don't go hard on those socials, but I do post.
Great. Brave new world, as they say. I mean, I'm
like on TikTok, like I can post a video on YouTube and it can be up there for 6 months and you'll get 100 views. I post a video on TikTok and it'll have 1,500 views in 24 hours. You know, it's just a massive difference.
Yeah, it's definitely the marketing of the future at the very least. Yeah. So we're fast. We're just over the hour, so we're getting close to the end. 3 final questions. First one. Who would you say, in terms of whether it's inspiration, whether it's actually having trained with them or having read one of the books or having watched old footage, it doesn't matter the context, but who would you say your 3 major inspirations or sources, however you want to look at it, hypnosis wise, have helped you along the way?
That's hard. 3. I watch everyone. I mean, I guess 3. I want to say David Schneider.
Okay, yeah.
Carl Smith.
Mm-hmm.
I watch so many people. I mean, even you've got so much content. And when you say you've got the biggest library, you probably got the fucking biggest library. You know, I know you've put the challenge out there many, many times, and it's hard for people to understand that until they actually buy it. But compared to other libraries, there's a fucking lot of content. And I do highly recommend it. You know, people should fucking take up the opportunity to buy it. But as I said, that I mean, even like people like Zach Pinson's, you know, he's been a massive inspiration to me. The young fella in wherever his America too, I believe. If you're familiar with him,
no, I shall look into.
Yeah, he's very young. He went to the top very quick. But as I said, honestly, I take inspiration from everyone. I literally watch everyone. It doesn't matter who they are, whether it's stage or therapy.
What's interesting though is that isn't the answer I was kind of expecting. I was kind of somewhere amongst those 3 at the very least. I was expecting either Martin St. James or Ron Rico or one of the old Australian greats that you must have heard of to get thrown in there.
Well, I posted that screenshot the other day where someone said to me,
I
they came
know,
to my,
excellent.
yeah. So in all honesty, I never
For
saw
viewers,
one of
for
their,
viewers and listeners, please tell them what it said, because I saw this and I thought, yeah, nice one.
yeah. So someone came to my show. I honestly don't even know who the person was. They attended one of the shows and they said after 8 shows, they put me on par with Ron Rico and Martin St. James. And I was like, I'll take that compliment.
Well, yeah, good man.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, like depends on how much they swore or the context of their shows. You know, there's so many variables as to how I'm on par with them. But again, I'll take that. You know, after being, you know, so
well, I know
new.
Martin St. James. Well, he didn't for family audiences, but I know Martin St. James definitely swore when he was doing his adult shows. So
yeah, okay. But even another one, you know, your good friend Justin Trans.
You know, as a hypnotist, he's reasonably good. As a human being, I just despise people who are long-term serial fraudsters ripping people off. And the fact is, I say that based on the facts of all the court documents that are there at Nevada County Court. Say Nevada, it isn't, is it? It's Clark County Court in Nevada. And he poo-poos it off as people making false allegations, and he can't be bothered showing up at court. But at the end of the day, he's got multiple court orders against him from multiple different people, one of which alone is in excess of $1 million, all of which have been awarded by a judge in court for claims of fraudulent actions having been taken against the people who've been awarded it. And frankly, you might get 1 or 2 people lie about you, but that many people who then actually take it to court and a judge finds in their favor, I don't know. You know, and Justin Trance has thrown out there in the past the fact that I've got 2 criminal convictions for delivery of counterfeit coins, and I do at the moment. However, as explained on circusofthemind.net, that was in the pursuance of trying to expose the fake Sheikh Mazza Mahmood, Rupert Murdoch, the media moguls, dodgy journalist, back in 1998 that backfired slightly, and that's currently going through the Criminal Cases Review Commission here in England. And in the course of time, my convictions will be overturned, because even the judge in the case agreed with the fact that I was trying to expose somebody and did not have any criminal intent. Whereas Justin Trance's criminal conviction for lottery fraud, off the top of my head, it was a sweepstake fraud, where he had multiple counts against him. It wasn't just one, multiple counts. He's never going to get rid of that criminal conviction because he was guilty of ripping people off. So as a human being, I just find him somewhat despicable based on that behavior. As a hypnotist, pretty average. Sorry, you set me off there on a rant. I apologize. And you know, I feel that I have had a lucky escape. Fast approaching 2 decades ago now, when Justin rang me from America and wanted me to invest around $500,000 into a Vegas show with him called The World's Greatest Hypnotist, which was going to be Justin Trance representing America, me representing England, somebody from Europe. You know, there would be about half a dozen hypnotists doing a different day of the week each. And something in my gut said, don't invest. And it was shortly after that that I was made aware of his somewhat dubious past. So, yeah, sorry, you set me off on there, mentioning the name.
It was bound to happen.
Yeah. So, yeah, sorry, please continue what you were going to say about Justin Trance, because, you know, he don't get me wrong, I know 1 or 2 people who've studied with him, and they've ended up doing really good shows. They have. However, they've also then ended up finding that the techniques Justin teaches don't work as well in English and European venues as Justin would like to think, not as reliably. There's certain contexts where that approach just ain't going to work, certain British working men's clubs, it's a whole different mentality, and who've then ended up coming to me for training to deal with those types of venues that Justin doesn't have experience of. So it's horses for courses, which is why you say, yeah, train with everyone. You know, I would never, if you want to learn hypnosis from Justin Trans, I wouldn't tell anyone not to. I would just say, never invest any money outside of with the serial fraudster. That's all. But you were going to say something positive about him, which you can do. You're welcome to, even though you set me off.
No, it was more so you were asking about my main inspirations. Yeah, he's definitely one of them, 100%. You know,
cool.
Yeah.
Well, from did you get to see him in Vegas, or is it from YouTube?
No, he came and did a training in Australia at the Gold Coast.
Oh, okay, cool.
So yeah, I took his training when he was here in 2019.
All right, excellent. I've already had my rant, so please, for people watching, in the interest of fairness, because you've been on his course, I know people who've been on the course with him who say it's great, but then certain things they found down the line don't work the way Justin would like to think they do in certain British venues, for example, because different mentalities. However, generally speaking, the feedback I've had on his courses has been that they are really, really good. And yeah, if you're seeing this, Justin, I still think as a human being, you're despicable ripping those people off. But I will, for the interest of fairness, point out that I've only had positive feedback on your course content. So go on, give your review for Justin, because it's the fact is it's your reality, it's what happened, and I can back up. I've heard from other people that they say it's a good course.
Yeah, so just like we spoke about before, so I love the training. I genuinely did. I enjoyed the training, the people that we're with, and I genuinely do love Justin. You know, I think he's been really good to me. He's been very helpful. He says he's there to support everyone, which he is. And, you know, I did find the course very, very engaging and a lot of fun. But as I said before, especially with his induction style, where it's putting everyone on the floor. And for me, as much as I'd love to do that and as showy and as wow as it is, I'm not willing to take that risk, being the size that I am, for the sake of trying to get that extra wow factor and potentially hurting someone. It's just in a stage context, it's just not for me. But have I done it in seminars or in workshops with specific people, smaller people? Have I done it with my own partner to demonstrate the techniques? Absolutely. And I think they are great and they are wow and showy, but for me on stage, it's just not where I can be. I don't want to risk hurting someone. I don't want to have that on my conscience or on my career. You know, I want to keep a clean slate. But I loved the training. It was awesome.
Cool. And that, there you go. See, never let it be said, you know, I could technically have engineered this so that we went on to another question so that you didn't get to say that, but there you go. I have your experience, you know.
But as I said too before, I also recommend your bootcamp as well, 100%. Like I said, there is a lot of stuff in there. And I was binge watching it for so long, just trying to get through it. I want to be the first person to say that I've watched every video in there.
No, you don't. You want to be busy doing shows. You really, nobody on this earth wants to be the person who says they finished the boot camp, because I keep putting new stuff in there.
Yeah, I get it. But it does go to show that there is a lot of stuff in there.
No, if you're going to concentrate, you're already doing stage shows, you're already doing therapy. If you want to actually binge watch anything, just cut to the stuff that's marketing related. to help you get more clients. You know, it's not meant to be something that somebody studies everything. It's meant to be a case of, if one day you decide you want to go into a certain niche area, you could message me and go, I'm thinking about doing X, Y, Z. Where do I find the answers inside the bootcamp? And I'd go, look at this thing.
Yeah.
Nobody is meant to study it all. Good God, no.
See, I've thought about doing that a few times, going, hey, where's this? Hey, where's that? But it's like, how many other people do that a day? You probably get bombarded with that same question.
I don't give a flying fuck. I categorically state on that challenge video you mentioned that just message me on Facebook, because that's what I answer quickest. And the thing is, I have an intimate knowledge of what's in there. So to be able to just type back and go, you know, if you said I'm going to be dealing with a golfing client, I know immediately the sports psychology stuff is in a set called Life's a Game. I'd go, look at Life's a Game. More often than not, be one set. I give you the title off, sometimes two. More than happy to do that. Yeah, without a doubt. So if ever you've got a question, just inbox it and I'll tell you where to look, as it were.
Appreciate it.
Hey, no worries. It's in my interest, because, you know, I want you to go out there and continue doing what is already an amazing job. I am so impressed that not only have you already got the shows going and getting successful shows and building up your following, but you've promoted the vast majority of them already. I'm so impressed that you've managed to get this all going through COVID. Couldn't be a worse time. So if you've already managed this now, you know, now that COVID's coming to an end, well, we know it's going to be here with us forever, but, you know, in terms of shutting the world down, hats off to you, man. The future looks like it could be a proper good takeoff to you, and I'm delighted that you agreed to come on at this stage of things, so that, you know, in 2-3 years time, when you've started doing the TV shows and stuff, I can put this video out again and go, hey, look, this is me speaking to Jaden Boon 3 years ago, before you all knew who he was, big star. And yeah, nice one, dude. So the last question, and this I ask everybody, if you could only, and this has got specifically, I'm referring to books here, what would your top 1 or 2, 3 if you want, but no more, recommended books be? Now, I notice I say recommended books, so it doesn't matter if that's stage hypnosis, therapy, marketing, just books on life. What do you think are the 3 books you'd recommend to somebody who was wanting to get into hypnosis that would help them achieve their aims?
It's a very tricky one, and I know you like reading books, but in all honesty, I have maybe read three books if I'm lucky. It's okay. I don't find it's a good way for me to learn. I prefer to watch or to listen, which is why I listen when I'm at the gym.
Okay, let's expand it then to either audio books or
even audiobooks. I don't really listen to audiobooks.
Okay.
The only ones, I mean, everyone says it. I mean, a lot of the content, do I really use? Everyone says it. The encyclopedia stage hypnosis, whatever it is.
I think it's a waste of time, personally, to read that.
Yeah. Look, there is a lot of stuff in there. A lot of stuff that I did skip through.
There's a lot of shit he just made up to fill a book out.
Yeah.
And I actually bought that to Orman McGill in the 80s when I met him at a Supreme Magic convention in England, when he actually admitted to me that hypnosis is bullshit. And so yeah, but yeah, everyone says you should read it, and I suppose
so I did. I read it for that purpose. Everyone says read it, so I fucking read it. And honestly, the only other one that I would have read of is Freddie Jacquin's Hypnotherapy.
Okay, yeah, it's a good book. I've got a review of that on my YouTube channel. Yeah, it's a book I actually recommend. Yeah.
But other than that, honestly, I don't read a lot. I prefer to listen. Like even audiobook. I don't listen to audiobooks. like I said, I just watch YouTube, or at least have it playing while I've got headphones in. Like if I'm mowing the lawn, I'll put even if it's a stage show and I'm not watching it, I'm just listening to it.
Okay, so I suppose we have to reframe the question for you then. What would you sort of the top 3 YouTube channels you'd recommend people go and take a look at then? I know that's really difficult because there is literally dozens and dozens of really content-rich, really good channels out there, but...
Well, I guess 2 people that come to mind straight away.
I'm going to read your mind on one of them because it is a really good content-rich channel. I'm going to guess that one of them will be Carl Smith, UK Hypnosis Academy.
Absolutely. Watch all his lives, watch all his videos, definitely. I watch a lot of Carl's stuff. Never been trained by him, never purchased one of his courses, but I know he gives a lot of stuff away on YouTube, and, you know, I'm very grateful for that. And I do use his stuff in sessions 100%. Cool. So definitely Carl Smith. The other one is, again, David Schneider. Mike Mandel.
Yeah, no, Mike's got some cool stuff.
Yeah, they're probably the or even I do like watching a lot of mesmerism as well. So what's his name? Marco Parrot? Pierre?
Yeah, Parrot. I don't know how you pronounce it, but something like Parrot, isn't it? Marco,
he does post a lot of videos as well. So even though he's got music, because again, I like to watch what are people doing? What are they? You know, I'm very engaged by videos, so I do consume content that way. But as I said, because I am subscribed to so many channels, and most people have a 2-minute video, a 3-minute video. So all the channels that I'm subscribed to, when I get to the gym in the morning, I'll start the first video. If it goes for 2 minutes, I'll do a set or a rep, and then I'll go to the next video. Like I said, even if I'm not watching it, I'm just listening to it.
Cool. And now, of course, you've helped add to that content, which will shortly be on YouTube and Vimeo in video format, and on all major podcast platforms as Hypnosis Week episode. Got to check this because I'm mentally, what are we on? 31st of May 2022 when this is recorded, and you are officially episode 98 overall, which is season 2, episode 46 of Hypnosis Week. So thank you, Jaden. I hope to catch up with you. Well, keep in touch, obviously, but I hope to catch up with you maybe in, say, 18 months, 2 years' time, and interview you again, and you'll be able to share with people how your journey's progressed because, hey, good man. Thank you very much indeed. Please do inbox me any of the social media links and whatnot that you want underneath. I've got your YouTube and your Facebook, but anything else, please inbox me when we get off, and then I can put it there for people to find you. But obviously, if they type in Jaden Boon Hypnotist, they will find that it all comes up on Google. Thank you very much indeed, sir.
Jaden with no Y, Jaden.
Jaden indeed. Thank you very much indeed, sir. It's been an absolute pleasure. Now I have to work out where to find the button to end the recording. No, that isn't it. We're still recording, people. This is because... See you next